I'm Mel ALBIN. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion
My
Power
name
Hour.
is Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Jazz Confusion Power Hour on the Source TV Radio Network. I'm Mel ALBIN. I'm your host. I'm the founder of the Power Hour. The Power Hour features some of the best in jazz, R&B, and soul artists and their music. You get to hear not only their story, but how a music artist goes about creating the songs and the music that you love so much. The Power Hour broadcasts weekly on the Source TV Radio Network. We broadcast live and streaming 4K and Dolby True HD. Source Radio is a nonprofit 501c3 station supporting jazz artists and Black and minority micro businesses to build scale so they can get on the finance industry radar and ultimately create and increase the generational transfer of wealth, assisting both families and communities towards equality and equity. We depend on listener contributions and artists who appear on our shows for mutual support and to support our course of broadcasting. So any donation, that you make to the Source TV Radio Network keeps jazz alive and well. We play jazz 24/7. And your donations are always greatly appreciated and always they're tax deductible. The Power Hour has had over 125 amazing artists, well-known and becoming well-known, musicians and vocalists. Some of the artists in the Power Hour include Eric Robeson, Mesa, Brian Culbertson, Paul Brown, Raheem DeVaughn, Reagan Whiteside, Samara Joy, Alex Harris, Greg Adams, Tom Brown, Costello, Eric Darius, Pieces of a Dream, Kamasi Washington, Keiko Matsui, Kim Scott, Sheryl Crow, Billy Ocean, Annie Lennox, Dwelle, Maria Antoinette, Jay Brown, Miss Monet, Yulia, Blake Aaron, Terry Wollman, her, Celine Johnson, Aaron Stevenson, Mavis Swan Poole, Dion Parson, Jeff Bradshaw, Tammy McCann, Jeff Beck, Eric Burden, Mickey Howard, and many others. So I wanted to give you the range of the kind of artists that we have on our show. Always a very established artists that you know, and also artists that are becoming established. Well, tonight's no exception. The guest we have tonight is a Grammy Award-winning music producer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist whose smooth, soulful touch has helped shape the sound of modern R&B. He started playing in local clubs at age 13 and working as a session bassist and keyboardist by the age of 14. At age 17, he left to attend Denison University, and he became the drummer for the jazz band for 3 years and the bassist for 1 year. He rose to prominence in the 1990s through his long-standing collaboration with Gerald Levert. Together, they created multiple chart-topping albums, including Private Line, Love and Consequence, and the posthumous song, In My Songs, which earned a Grammy in 2007. His production and songwriting credits span an impressive roster of artists, including Joe, Freddie Jackson, Patti LaBelle, Barry White, the OJs, Regina Belle, Teddy P, and the Backstreet Boys, among others. He played a key role in launching the careers of Kanye Das and Antoine Dunn, producing the breakout single Can't Forget. Today, he's the owner of iBrighton, a creative production company committed to elevating timeless, mature R&B. Through iBrighton, he continues to work with both emerging and veteran artists, staying true to his passion for real musicianship and authentic soul music. So, without any further ado, please welcome tonight my friend and special guest, Tony Nicholas.
Hey!
Welcome,
Thanks, Mel.
Tony. How are you?
That was a heck of an intro, man. I need to put you on the payroll, buddy.
And who's that good-looking guy with you?
This would be my boss, Mr. Walter Williams, Sr. of the OJs.
What an honor to have you, Walter. It's a real honor. Thank you so much. Well, Tony, we have other of your artists and friends that are going to be on the show tonight. So, let's start to welcome some of them. Let me bring up somebody. You can introduce them. Who's that?
Hey, this is the keyboard player of EToNS and vocalist Ed Ridley and guitarist Jack Whitsett.
Wonderful. Okay, and now we'll bring up some more. You can introduce.
And this is my long time friend, Sarah's girl.
Hey.
Hey, Sarah's girl has been on my show. She was on there some time ago. No.
Yep.
Yeah. And we have somebody else here you can introduce.
Hey, Willie McMillan, another keyboard player and vocalist.
Willie, okay. All right. Willie, if you could turn your screen landscape, it'd be a lot better if you can do that. Cool. Now we get to see all of you.
Hey.
Awesome.
All right, good.
By.
Well, look, it's an honor to have all of you on the show tonight. And I haven't done this before with that many people that connected to one musician that I'm interviewing for the show. So I want to thank everybody for being here. And Willie, your phone flipped back to portrait again.
I don't know why I did that
because you had a landscape. It was good.
Yeah,
right?
it did it on its own. Let me figure out how I could do it.
Well, see if you can flip it back again. That's okay. Okay, now we know who everybody is. Why don't you tell us, Tony? Start off by telling everybody who's in our listening and viewing audience what you have planned for 2025.
Well, 2025 is going to be kind of an exciting year for us because EToNS is going to be releasing their first full album on what is it? You tell me, Sarah's girl.
I don't know.
September 1st, followed in 3 weeks by her full-length album as well. And so we're working on finishing both of those projects while we're still touring. Hopefully, we're going to be doing some dates together. I would love to see. And I will also like to be doing some dates with Mr. Walter Williams, while I have him. And because before he figures out I'm using him for his good looks. We are finishing a soundtrack for a movie that the gentleman Jacoby was on that you saw earlier. We're all collaborating and working on the soundtrack for that movie. And I'd like to get a single done on Mr. Willie McMillan.
Terrific. All right. So you got a busy year ahead of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You have any concerts lined up?
Actually, nothing that I could talk about right now. But because we've been so busy in the studio, and it just takes a lot of time to make all of those records. And so hopefully you'll be seeing us at some point, but we got to knock all that stuff out first.
Terrific. Well, we'll be talking about the music all night long, so people get to know you pretty well by the end of the show. So why don't you tell everybody, Tony, since I want people to get to know you and all the people that you work with, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, how your family, you brought music into your life at an early age, your public school years, then your choice of going to college, and how the city in which you grew up maybe influenced some of your musical decisions.
Well, starting out in Louisiana, Louisiana has a rich musical, heritage, and it's really a melting pot of sorts when it comes to music. And also the musicians there, they take it seriously. It's, they are not messing around. If you wind up hearing about a musician from Louisiana, normally they're creme de la creme. That's why they kicked me out at age 9. Ohio.
You were one too many.
That being said, my father was a serious jazz fan, and my mom was, heavily into gospel. And so I actually really didn't listen to R&B in my early years. It was all gospel and all jazz, but those are the building blocks that, that would blues. Those are the building blocks that R&B, is made from anyway. So when I finally did start consuming R&B, I felt like I knew it, even though I didn't. I was sort of helping teach parts with the church choir at age 6 and 7. And I was writing out music for my little toy instruments pretty early on, teaching folks the harmonies and the choirs and etc. And so when I got to be about the 5th grade, this is going to really age me, but I got a Kenner close and play. Played the 45s, you close it, play the 45. That same year, my sister got a reel-to-reel, a little, small reel-to-reel. So I traded with her. I got the reel-to-reel, and I put the thing in record, and I noticed that these two things come up. If I put it in play, this came up. So I'm thinking, if I take this off, maybe it won't erase the stuff that's already there. And so I took what was the erase head off, and I started multi-tracking. I would call my siblings in, and I would have them clap or play maracas or whatever, toy stuff that I had, because when my parents entertained, we would always have to stay upstairs. So upstairs, that's what we did. We started multi-tracking on this little, you couldn't make any mistakes because you couldn't erase anything. So whatever you recorded, that was what it was. Around that time, I heard an Emotions album called Rejoice. And I was like, why do I like this record so much? And so I read the notes and it said produced by Maurice White. And at that time, Earth, Wind & Fire was my favorite band. And I'm like, oh, so he took his flavor and put it on these girls. I want to do that. I want to do what he did. And so those were the times when I figured out that I wanted to be a record producer. Even before I thought about writing songs, I thought about to be a producer.
That's unusual. I mean, I've never heard it that way. Usually it's the other way around.
Well, yeah, but it was this like me realizing that he took the flavor that his band had and he could put that on somebody else. That's, the songwriting thing, it hadn't dawned on me at that point. It was like, I want to be a record producer. And I would say that record producers were not very, very well known at that point. It was more the songwriters and the artists. The producers were lesser well known until you got to the 80s era where guys are making their own records because they're playing everything themselves. Right. I mean, we only had like Stevie Wonder that did that before, but like at that point, I knew who songwriters were and I knew who artists were. The producer was, they just didn't know that much about them.
Are you still using that cassette to do your recording?
You know what? I'm having a hard time finding tapes for it because remember, I can't erase it.
Yeah, I think you would.
Well, I did start recording seriously on a Tascam 80-8. And I got one of those, and it was an 8-track recorder. And I mean, actually up to the point where Gerald and I recorded Private Line on that machine. Tascam 38, that's what it was. Okay. And I still have that machine now.
You went to college and you played in the band at college?
I went to Denison University and I studied music there. The director of the department was pretty stern and mean and all of that good stuff. And he said I would never do anything in music because I wasn't doing classical music. And when I walked across the stage, because I studied jazz, I walked across the stage and he whispered in my ear, your degree was a gift, right? And it was one of the craziest things I've ever had happen. But the worst thing that anybody can do is tell me that I can't do something, because I'm going to go out of my way to show them that I really can do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of funny. We have a parallel life. My guidance counselor told my parents, my mother in particular, that I wasn't college material. But 2 PhDs later, I think I proved them wrong.
Wow. But the one thing I will say good about Denison is that the program was so small that I got to do a lot of things. I got to walk in off the street, never having had a drum set or anything, and I became first chair drummer for 3 years. I mean,
tell me a little bit about. I'm curious about that. You're a multi-instrumentalist. Most people take to one instrument. You took to many. How come? What's up with that?
Because I wanted to be a drummer, and my parents wouldn't allow it. They didn't want all that noise in the house, so I wanted to express my musical, thoughts some kind of way. And so if I couldn't do it on the instrument that was my, instrument of choice, It's like whatever I could pick up that could make music, I was going to try it. And it was a blessing, because I don't think I would ever wound up being a producer and a writer if I had gotten to play drums like I really wanted to.
Right.
So it really kind of worked out. But in the director of the jazz department actually was a drummer. It was a guy named Rick Brunetto, and he saw something in me and wanted me to be the drummer. There were guys there that studied and all that stuff, but he's something in me he liked, and he's like, I want you to be the drummer. And so for 3 years I did that. And then the last year I was going to say, you know what, I'm going to concentrate on my studies. I'm not going to play in the jazz band this year, but it just so happened that the bass player graduated. And so he's like, come on, Tony, we got 1 year left together, man. Come on, do this for me. And so I wound up being the bass player the year that I wasn't the drummers. And
That's
so
an amazing story.
I was able to direct a gospel choir. I mean, there's all sorts of things that I did musically. I wrote a score for a play. These are all things that there would have been, tens of people in line to do at a much bigger school.
Sure.
But because it's a small school, I got to do everything.
I've heard that from a number of musicians, that when I ask them, why did you choose, a small college, they tell me about all the attention they got in the time, and they never would have had that at a larger institution. So that makes a lot of sense.
By myself. I had 2 courses at that school by myself, where they had to hire someone just to teach me, because I needed the course.
Small.
Yeah, that would never happen at a bigger school. Yeah. But that stuff makes a huge difference in what your opportunities were. And I was never intending to study music at Denison. I wanted to be an engineer, and I wanted to take music lessons because I'd never had lessons up to that point. And so they're like, well, the only way you can have your lessons for free is if you say that you're a music major. I was actually majoring in economics when I got there. And they're like, if you're gonna take these lessons, you got to say you're a major. So I kept saying I was a major, and there kept being more and more requirements. If you say you're a major, you got to have this concert attendance requirement. You got to do this, you got to do that. Next thing I know, I was a music major.
What's really kind of funny is it's funny how the name that you chose to be a music major created your career for life, when it was just a matter of convenience, so you can take the courses for free.
That's right. And that was the only reason I did it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I had a full free scholarship to go to Bowling Green, right outside of Toledo, which is where we moved to out after I left Louisiana. And my dad didn't want me to go there because I was going to be playing music. And so he's like, don't go to Bowling Green. I want you to go to Denison, get your studies done, do the economics thing. If you want to be an engineer, you do that. Are you studying engineering, Dad? Yep. Yep, son. Yep, Dad. I'm studying engineering. I didn't have a single engineering course at Denison. I don't even know if they offer them. But, how's the engineering going, son? Oh, it's going great, Dad. I'm complete music man.
That's a terrific story. Let's shift gears a little bit, Tony. And how did you form the EToNS? How did this come about? Because you got all your compadres here with you. So, how did that happen?
So, during the pandemic, I was bored. And so nothing was going on. Nobody was booking the studio. Nothing was happening. And so I decided to go to the studio every day and just start working on making some music. I made a pandemic record, basically. And I feel like, and I shouldn't say this with all of them on the call, but it was like what kind of stew is that they make where you just got nothing but the water, and then you keep telling them, I'm making this stew, and then they bring this ingredient, another person brings the ingredient, and the next thing you know, you got stew, and you didn't have anything before, you had an idea. And so, each person on here, these guys are all very accomplished musicians. I always wanted to do something with Mr. Williams, but the people that I knew him had me scared of him. So he and I, they said, Mr. Williams will shoot you. It said he will shoot you. So for a long time, I didn't say a whole lot to Mr. Williams. But, we wound up doing some really, really good music during the pandemic. And these guys, I just asked them to join me. Sarah's girl I've known forever, always wanted to do something with her. and things just kind of developed like that. The young lady that you heard on one of the songs, she just had a problem with her voice after COVID. And so that's why she's not on, with us today.
Who was that?
Audrey Maupin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she caught COVID and her voice never came back.
Wow.
But other than that, yeah, she and I and a gentleman named Phil Jones, we started this band, during COVID, and it just grew from there to where it is now. And I mean, it probably is the most fun I've had, musically speaking, in my career.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, some of the people that are on the show right now, why don't you introduce some of your band members that are here that you haven't introduced yet?
I'm gonna go to my right, and that would be Mr. Ed Ridley. Ed, I wound up seeing in church about 10 years ago, and I said, you know what? I want to work with that guy. And I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. And we both got recommended to play in a band. He and Willie, the keyboard player down at the bottom, those guys really complement each other really, really well because they bring different seasoning to the table, but both things are tasty. And it's like without us even talking about it, when we need to do something, each of us just all know, like, okay, whose assignment that is, because everybody brings, a special thing. And it's that everybody can play, but everybody brings a flavor that makes the gumbo taste really great. Jack Whitsett on guitar is a buddy of mine that, we've been playing together off and on for many, many, many years. And I was delighted to have him join us about a year ago. Was it a little over a year ago?
A year.
Yeah, man. And then Sarah's girl, I've been wanting to do something with her for a long time, but I won't say why I didn't, because I don't want to embarrass her, because I don't want her to blush. But I'm just so thankful now that
you can tell me after the show's over.
You're able to. No. She knows why.
Okay, Jack, Willie. I'm just curious, Jack, Willie, some of the guys here that's part of the band. How did you meet Tony, and what made you want to join the band with him?
Me?
Anybody? Any of you guys?
Yeah. Well, me and Tony, like Tony said, off and on, we've been knowing each other for a number of years, and we always had fun playing together. He's a excellent musician, great person, easy to play with, and like he said, when you bring different, I call them spices to the gumbo, it just really helps out and makes everything taste good. And we saw each other when we were playing with another band, and we decided, hey, what you laughing for?
Let me tell you something. I hate that I'm interrupting him, but we were in a band together for a couple of days.
Yeah,
and we did a gig together, and after 2 songs, the guy said, do you want some more? And the audience is like, no, boo, you suck.
And we looked at each other, it was like, okay, this time.
So Jack and I looked at each other and said, man, we cannot do this again. Like this has to be our last. This was our first night with this band and the last night.
And
so I said, Jack, you're too good for this, man. I'm putting something together, and I'll be giving you a call. And this was that thing.
Exactly.
That's great. That's great stories. Look, I want our audience to hear some of your music. So I want to start out playing the song "I Wish I Could Fly." So anybody want to talk about how that came into being?
Well, I'll tell you that the song, I wrote it a little while ago with Audrey, but I could not. Willie's a keyboard player, but he's also an accomplished multi-instrumentalist. So I'm the bass player in the band, but I decided to have him play bass because he was able to reimagine the bass line in a way that I couldn't, because I had listened to it the old way for so long. And this is only the second time I've ever sung myself a record. The first time was with Sarah's Girl. And this is the second record that I've ever put my voice on in my life.
Terrific. Well, let's hear it. Let's hear "I Wish I Could Fly." Okay, by Tony Nicholas. and we'll come back and talk some more.
Okay.
Damn, it's going crazy out here. Day-to-day living is getting best of me. So tired of being what the world wants from me. I can't seem to concentrate. Can't seem to concentrate. I don't wanna medicate. Get away from here. Wish I could fly away. Hard times and struggles have become friends of mine. This endless hustle can't find peace of mind. Friends keep on telling me that I'm not the same. Sometimes I don't even know my own name, and it's getting the best of me. It's getting the best of me. And it is I just can't conceive. It's getting hard to breathe. I wish I could fly. Fly away just for a little while. No worries, no more pain. I just need a minute to get myself together.
Hey. They probably never heard this since I sung it.
That's great. Great trap. We have some comments from our listeners and viewers. Let's see what we got here. I think I popped one up before. Love the energy.
Thank you, Christy.
Here's one from Kurt Sussman. Beautiful groove, smooth vocals, nice arrangement.
Thank you. The arrangement, Willie and Eddie can take credit for that.
Terrific.
Because I couldn't hear past what I had before.
Okay.
So they were able to help me reimagine the song. And, and you probably never even heard it since I finished singing it.
Well, the song is really beautiful. Soulful comes from Luther Wilcox. Pauline Jackson, love the arrangement. The flute solo is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
that's
Dexter
a gentleman.
Kaufman, this is the best. This is the best of smooth jazz, not repetitious.
Yay!
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dexter. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that comment because one of my pet peeves over the years is that smooth jazz has taken the jazz out of jazz to a large extent, and the instrumentation, the arrangements, having an edge put back into the music, really makes the music so much more interesting to listen to.
Thank you, sir.
So, it's a great song. I really enjoyed it myself. So,
Tell you who was
next.
supposed to sing it.
I'm sorry?
You know who was supposed to sing it?
Who?
I won't say the name, but the initials are Sarah's girl.
Why does that sound familiar? Why don't you tell the audience, Tony, a little bit about how you hooked up with the iconic Gerald Levert, and how over the years, when you finally produced a posthumous song, In My Songs, it earned a Grammy in 2007. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how that relationship developed?
Well, in the late 80s, I had a friend that I was writing songs with who happened to go to college with a girl who went to high school with the music director for Levert. And so she just happened to be letting her friend hear some of the songs that we wrote. And so she played it for her buddy, a gentleman named Mike Ferguson, who happened to be the musical director for Levert at the time. And he was interested in he and I becoming the B team songwriters for Gerald Levert and Mark Gordon, who were doing all of the production on the Levert group. And so we were supposed to be the B team. But when I joined the band, ironically, I didn't even own a keyboard at the time. I had to borrow some money from someone to get a keyboard. Even though I was going for the keyboard gig, I didn't have a keyboard because I was a bass player. But that's a whole nother story. So the song was Casanova. It's pretty simple. You could figure it out, because it's not hard to play. So got in a band. Mike and I started writing songs together. And shortly thereafter, Gerald decided he wanted to do a solo album. And it was actually Eddie Levert's suggestion that Gerald hook up with me because he didn't want the Levert album and his solo album to sound like the same people did it. And so once we did that album, we just kept a good thing going, and we just started doing everybody who would let us. And so that's really kind of how it came about.
Yeah, that's great. It's always so interesting to me, the 6 degrees of separation. How this guy, and he knew somebody in high school who knew somebody's cousin.
That's that really, with any one of those things not working. And I was kind of a little bit in the dumps because my songwriting partner, when I was in Columbus, because when I moved to Columbus right out of Denison, Denison's right outside of Columbus. And so my songwriting partner at the time got the Miles Davis gig. So he left. And so I was the musical director for a group signed to Warner Brothers called Teen Dream. And Warner Brothers had just released them. So I was like, what am I going to do now? And then this Levert thing came up. So it all worked out, the way it was supposed to. And Gerald and I wound up recording everybody that would let us after that. And I probably shouldn't put this out here, but I don't have a filter. So Gerald, thank you, Willie, for that. But Gerald and I tried to stay away from the Levert records because out of deference to Mark Gordon, I didn't want to do, that was his thing. And I was very cognizant of the fact that every record that I did with Gerald was a record that he could have done with Mark. And so I thought about that a lot. So I tried to stay away from the Levert thing. So Gerald told Mark on one of the records, just do the whole album and I'll sing when you want me to sing. Tony and I will just do one song. We could call it ABC 1, 2, 3, and we'll probably get the hit. And so when I got together with him to write the song, he said, I don't know what kind of vibe it's going to be on, but we got to call it ABC 1, 2, 3. So next thing I know, loving you is so easy for me to do. It's like ABC 1, 2, 3. I'm loving you, girl. Just keep loving me. And we got the hit.
That's great. What a great story too, and a great song. You know, I'm sure our audience appreciates, you know, the stories like that, because they don't know how a lot of these songs really come together and how they're made. They have no clue, you know. So it makes the song more interesting. You know, since you have that good-looking guy next to you, Walter, why don't you tell our viewers, our audience, a little bit about your collaborations, and then we'll play Practice What You Preach.
Let's switch.
Oh, okay. You're gonna have to interpret for me because I don't hear well.
Yeah, he
All
wants to
this
hear about
loud
to
music.
hear a little bit about what we did together with Supergirl.
Oh, great song. I thought Supergirl was too sophisticated to catch the ears today, and that's probably because I've done so much R&B since I've been in the business, and Supergirl was kind of, the music part of it was kind of off into the jazz feel. I had never done anything like that. One song, When Sunny Gets Blue, my whole entire career. So after we finished it, I told Tony, I don't think that should be the single because it's a bit sophisticated. It's probably over the head of my audience. And Tony told me, take a hike.
Oh, no.
You are way off base.
Well, that was subtle enough.
Gonna happen. And so in listening to it, and it was done so well, harmonies and musically and all of that. And I've always enjoyed working with him. I think I started doing a background session the first time I worked with him. And he's particular and no nonsense in the studio. You got to get it done. You got to get it right. He's creative. And I enjoyed all of that about him. So with Supergirl, after hearing the finished product, I said, okay, this might have
something.
This might be something. This could have a chance. And here it is.
So, but practice what you preach.
Practice.
He made me put him on that record. Not that I wasn't going to anyway, but he made me put him on that record.
Well, so creative and different and just kind of out there. You could really go for it, you know, and I'm creative. I like trying different things in a crazy way. And that part about, oh, you just, oh, and I was like, oh, I can really do that. And so I went in the studio and I don't know, we probably did 15, 20 different takes of it. And when I came out, he said, I got what I need. And I haven't heard it yet, but I know he knows what to do as far as placing it in the record. I enjoy working with him. He's creative. He's no nonsense. And that's right up my alley.
Wonderful. Well, let's play Practice What You Preach, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
Good.
Check is in the mail.
Story of my life.
wish that you would. You keep telling me this, and telling me that. Say once I'm with you, I'll never go back. Say there's a lesson that you wanna teach. Here I am, baby. Practice what you preach.
Telling you this and telling you that. I see what you mean, you'll never go back. 'Cause there's a lesson that I'm gonna teach.
Here I am, baby. Practice what you preach. I've had my share of lovers. Some say damn good. If you think you can turn me out, baby, I wish that you would. You keep telling me this, telling me that. Say once I'm with you, I'll never go back. Say there's a lesson that you wanna teach. Here I am, baby. Practice what you preach.
Telling you this and telling you that. I see what you mean, you'll never go back. 'Cause there's a lesson that I'm gonna teach.
Here I am, baby. Practice what you preach. Here I am, baby. Practice what you preach.
Telling you this and telling you that. 'Cause there's a lesson that I'm gonna teach.
Practice what you preach, baby. You keep on talking, baby. But talking is cheap. Got to put up and shut up, baby. Practice what you preach.
I got what you need.
You keep on talking, baby. But talking is cheap. Got to put up and shut up, baby. Practice what you preach. You keep on talking, baby. Talking is cheap. Got to put up and shut up, baby.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
That's Mr. Williams' first time hearing it.
Yeah, I like it. Now
That's beautiful. Great song. We have a whole bunch of comments. I can't put all of them up, but this is Divine Dixon. Love the sax. Who is that? True
That's
soul.
Kelly O'Neill.
Who is that? I'm sorry.
Kelly O'Neill.
Terrific.
He's in Atlanta. He's really good. He also played the flute on the previous song.
Oh, he did. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another comment. Lakeisha Mason. This reminds me of New Orleans soul.
It's home. That's where I'm from.
There you go. And this is from Joe Williams. Peaceful, beautiful, wonderful.
Thank you, Joe.
You get a lot of fans out there.
Love it.
That's great. So let's continue. You know, God, time is going by so fast already.
Oh, Mel, you know the female voice on there?
Yeah.
On the record?
Oh, that was, hey, cool.
Yeah.
My first time hearing it too. It sounds great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you all like it, because if you didn't, it could have been very embarrassing. Yeah. So, you know, briefly, Tony, tell us about iBrighton, your creative production company. Why? When did you found it? Why did you found it? And you know, what's it doing today?
Founded in 2007, and honestly, it was just a desire on my part, because you know how the machine is. The machine tends to favor, you know, very, very young artists, the kids, because the industry can make more money. And there's so many veteran artists and just mature artists that have so much to offer. And the industry may feel like there's just not enough money in it for them, but there's still a lot of musical information there that they have to share with the world. And I just wanted to tap into that and work with some of these artists that still, you know, they have a lot to offer yet. And it's just a place that I decided I wanted to be, because I could also still do real music. And honestly, the good and grown artists, they just are more appreciative. I hate to say it, but they just seem more appreciative of the effort that you put out there, you know, to try to help them make it happen.
You know, look, I know that we're all, you know, in the same generation pretty much, or close to being in the same generation. And, you know, music used to have, when record labels and radio was in charge, music had a structure. You know, the noise was filtered out. For better or for worse, those guys who did A&R, they spent 50 years in the music industry. They had heard it all, you know, and that began to wither in the 1990s. And, you know, today, like you said, you know, between the urban music blocking out most other forms of music, and, you know, and of course, hip hop, and then I think the emphasis is on youth. You know, so much of the good music that was out there, you know, only has a few people representing it anymore. You know, like you know, John Batiste. You know, he samples all that old school music. He's wonderful. You know, and you know, what was it? Now I'm drawing a total blank. It'll come to me. He did 24 Karat. Who is that?
Bruno Mars.
Thank you. Yes, another one, you know, who's wonderful and sample. You know, they recognize the value of what came before, and you know, and it's being reproduced again in the UK. There are a lot of really young jazz artists now who are really hot. I mean, the music's being embraced there much more than it is here. You know, so you know, I love having all of you on, because you know, you represent, to me, still the best in music today. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Let's play another song because we're running out of time. Let's play Supergirl, and then we can come back and talk about that in a minute, okay?
Sure.
All right, here's Supergirl, featuring, once again, Walter Williams, Sr., and also Tony Nicholas.
To a man like me, no time for games, no tricks up my sleeve. Cause at the end of the day, I know what matters to me. Love for real, love so real. He may have done things he shouldn't have done to you. Don't you worry, baby, his time is through. Cause the way I feel for you, I find it hard to explain. Try, it's all in vain. It's the best way I can explain. Baby, you're my Supergirl. 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 Don't you know you changed my world. Supergirl. Just tell me what I gotta do. I plan on sticking around if that's alright with you. Whoever passed on the opportunity to make you happy, he didn't know what he had. He was just plain crazy. If you ever left me, baby, was at the end of the line when your love came and saved me. So baby, I wanna tell you what's on my mind. Can't be nothing about time, baby. You're mine. Super girl. Might as well put an emblem on your chest, 'cause you can't rest. Baby, there's something about the way you hold, touch me, kiss me, love me, like only you can. Ooh, baby, super girl.
Left him out there.
Yes, sir.
That's my favorite song.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate
Love
it.
that song. You have company, Sarah. You got plenty of company out here. Here's a comment. Carlos Castaneda, love the instrumentation. You don't hear instruments anymore. Super girl, super vocals. Thank you, Walter.
You might have heard some ad libs at the end. That was your boy Willie Mack down there.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, with the super girl.
Yep. Here's another one.
Good stuff, Willie. Good stuff.
Tracy Dennis, Soul Lives, better than ever.
Yes.
Candy Davis, beautiful vocals, great composition.
Thank you, Candy.
Thank you.
You have plenty of people listening in tonight and loving the music. I want to talk a little bit, running down on time now, and I want to get to some more of your music. But, I really want to know, Tony, a little bit about songwriting. What inspires you, throughout your career? What people have influenced your writing style? And I particularly am interested to know your approach to songwriting. Everyone does it differently. Do you start with a tune? Do you, hammer a few things out on the keys? Everyone, I'm just curious about what you start with. Do you start with a lyric or a tune in your head? So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about how you write a song? And then I'm curious, are you involved in the song end to end in post-production, every aspect of the song? So go ahead, have at it.
Every step. And I would say, as a songwriter, if you're if it's recreational, then you wait for inspiration. If you have to write a song every day, you can't always wait for inspiration. So, or you have to go find the inspiration. So some days a melody comes first. Some days I hear a chord change on a commercial on TV and say, you know what, that's a dope chord change. I wish I could use that. Or sometimes you'll get a new keyboard and the patches in the keyboard will make you feel a type of way. And it could be the same chords that you played on the piano, but it didn't make you feel a type of way. Or sometimes a person like, Ed or Willie will come along and they'll take a chord change that maybe I would have thrown away, but they might voice it in a way that makes me feel something. Or when I'm when I'm listening to people's stories, you know, I don't write from experience very often, but what I do is I say, what would a person say if they felt like that? How would they say it? My problem with writing from experiences, personal experiences, that I have a very difficult time reducing it to 2 verses and a hook because I have too much.
Yeah.
So it almost has to be something that I'm not emotionally invested in, but you know, that way I can get to the meat of it. You know, and
are you involved? I'm sorry. Are you involved in the song end to end and post production too?
Absolutely, everything.
Do you mix and master, or do you give it to somebody else?
Well, my mix guy is a guy that, you know, we sit there and mix it together because his name is Pete Tokar, and we've worked on records, you know, since the late 80s. So he knows, you know, to an extent what I want, but we'll sit there and get it, you know, to where I want it together. So I'm still involved. I would never just turn it over to him because that's not fair to him because it's expecting him to read minds. And so, and plus, because I come from a generation when there was a lot of music, some things in my mixes are not meant to be like out there. I'm making a texture. And so sometimes things are not meant to be loud. Everything's not meant to be in your face. And that's difficult to know what a person wants if they're not sitting there. But the only time I turn it over to someone else is when it's time to master. And even then I have to approve it.
I'm curious if some of you, you know, they're on the show tonight. Sarah, what attracts you to Tony's songwriting?
Because it's classic. And you don't hear a lot of, like, nowadays people like give you beats, but Tony's music compositions are complete. And I love that about it.
Well, thank you.
Here's something you didn't know, Tony. You actually have an admirer here.
Who knew?
I've always loved Tony's music. Always.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Willie, Jack, everybody jump in a little bit and tell us a little bit about, you know, what you like about Tony's songwriting.
My opinion, I think Tony is a great songwriter. I mean, I don't even know Tony for about a year. No, was it 2 years or 2 years now? I'd say a year. But it's very inspirational and something I can relate to. But for me, I gravitate more to his production. Because as to like his story, I started off wanting to be a producer before a writer. So I gravitate to it, and a lot of stuff that he comes up with it speaks to me, and it definitely drives me to another place. Like one of the songs that we did recently. When I first heard it, I was like, "What made you do this?" Like, and the thing about it is, it was simple. What he did, the changes that he did were real simple, but nobody's ever put it that way into music, and I just was like, "Yo, this is genius." So yeah, he's definitely innovative. He does things that's different, and this is no shade, but for a guy his age, he's doing things that's still relevant. This is no shade.
Willie.
When a guy his age, he's still doing things that are very relevant for things today. Like people that are my age, I'm definitely the youngest of the group. But people my age are doing things or trying to do things that he's doing even today. So stuff like that, I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of something where he's doing. So it's been an honor to be a part of it.
That's great. Well, Tony, you keep sucking down that Geritol. Jack, some other people?
37.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to comment on Tony that haven't commented yet?
Yeah, well, I actually really appreciate how focused he can be on a concept and stick to his guns to say he allows certain things, but if it veers off, he says, well, that might be a little too far, but we can try some of that. And he allows us to, I mean, he's open to what we offer. And once we get the concept that he's going for, it almost feels like the songs write themselves. So I really appreciate that.
That's great.
Check us in the
That's wonderful.
Hey, Cash App.
I was going to say that it's just really nice to just have music that not only has structure to it, it's melodic, and for me, I've always been a person that enjoyed music that you could feel. If you can feel my music that I play, then my job is done. And with Tony, as soon as you step in it, like Willie said, it might be a song here or another song, and you just hear it, and it just inspires you, and you say, hey, I like that. I like that vocal arrangement. I like the drums, or I like the fact that you barely hear it, but you can feel it. I mean, it's just wonderful to have that type of music in all genres that he presents.
Yeah, this is a wonderful night for me because my love is in melodic tunes, and beats aren't melodic. It's syncopation, and syncopation isn't music. So it has its place, but it just isn't music. And you guys are producing real music, real soul, real jazz, and it's just wonderful. I'm just so pleased to have all of you on. So let's try to play another song. We're really running down on time. Let's play New Day, and then afterwards, maybe, Tony, you can fill us in on that song, okay?
Okay, gotcha.
This is dedicated to those who loved and lost at the hands of injustice. It's gotta stop. Been here before, but what are we doing? Today is a new day. Ooh, kneeling down, but it's not working. Fighting for losing. No one's hearing punishment. Can't make a living. Gotta find another way. Today is a new day. Today is a new day. Today is a new day. Ooh, we've come a long way. Got a longer distance. Higher resistance. We get caught in our feelings. So we stop the cars again. I can't breathe. Another consequence. Another ambulance. Fire's burning high. Trying to get some attention. The man in position is on another mission. Another mission. She's got another mission.
Yo, talking to myself in the mirror like a new day. Another chance to make them hear what you say. Raise your fist and resist the true hate. Do great and repeat a new day. Huh. Just imagine the fun we'd all have without the fear of a badge and a gun. We dash and we run, even when there's no reason to. Fight or flight conditioning whenever we see the blue. And red lights for black and brown folks. Protect and serve turns to attacks and ground chokes. Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of cops have been conditioned to be more scared of me. I get it, racism is taught and passed down and shot through a service weapon in every last round. You good ones, your silence is violence that can't be. Listen to my people's whisper saying I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
Innocent baby crying, 'cause daddy's dying. Mama, don't you cry. It's gonna be alright. I'll be here with you. I don't want them to shoot. Ooh. We're kneeling down again, but they're still not learning. No one's listening.
Wow. I haven't heard that in a minute.
Oh, great song. You got a lot of just a bunch of comments. I can't put them all up here, but that one was from Serena Utley. Love the lyrics. Awesome. Caroline Fletcher, Jazz Hop, my favorite.
Thank you.
Then we have over here, we have Tony Braswell. Wow, great lyrics. We need more of that today.
Thanks, Tone.
Elaine Church, soul in today's style. Love it.
Appreciate it. Well, you know, that was a song that I really felt like I needed to, and even Audrey, even more than me, we needed to address something that was going on in our community or our country in that moment. And sometimes people will accept something in a song or in a comedy routine that if you said the same thing to them, they'd be offended.
That's right.
But, you know, that's the great thing about comedy, and it's the great thing about music, because a lot of times, you know, as my boss here knows, you know, music can be a very powerful thing to use to advance a message that might not necessarily be as palatable conversationally.
That's right.
And so, you know, the OJs stand for that all day long.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So, you know, that's.
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
that's a trademark.
Yes. And so that was just that was something that I could not let pass without speaking on it. It just I couldn't leave it be.
Well, you got a lot of fans out there really love this song. I want to play the last song of the evening. We're running way over time already, but I want to get to the song. This is The World. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about this song, Tony? Kind of wrap up.
The song is definitely just speaking on a couple different things that go on in the world, because there's good and there's bad, and all of us have to face the good and the bad, and we have to keep moving. Somehow we got to figure out every day to figure out how to keep it moving, to face the next day and face the next set of, you know, issues that we got to deal with. And so that's what the song is talking about. And so the music is all over the place because life's all over the place. And but we love to play it. We have a good time on it, and I hope you enjoy it too.
Terrific. Well, I'm going to play it, then we'll come back and wrap up. And you know, if you all want to stick around, if you have some time after the show, we can chat a little bit more. But this is The World, and this is by Tony Nicholas.
EToNS.
The EToNS.
I didn't want to leave my guys out.
This is the world we live in. Got to keep on winning. No matter how hard it gets, keep your head uplifted. Was riding in the car just the other day. Let's sleep in the alley, holding some baby. Children missing, teens out here trying. Murder rate is in the highest totality. Oh, but it seems that it's a normality. This is the world we live in. Got to keep on winning. No matter how hot it gets, keep your head uplifted. Girls accepted to the university. Met a guy on campus, same old story. Later on, he came to a room uninvited. Then heard he violated. Didn't seem to know that no means no. This is the world we live in. Got to keep on winning. No matter
you didn't ask me to do that.
Sorry.
That's more my speed.
Sorry. Man, that's probably my favorite song that we've done.
I can't hear
You know,
right
that's
now.
I loved it.
It's such a great song, and I want we're running out of time, but I want to put up some of the people's comments. Carl Bodenheimer, I love jazz, but this is transcendent, and the vocals soar.
Hey,
Devon Redmond, masterful vocals and excellent texture of jazz and soul.
thank you.
Did I miss anybody?
Mhm.
The horn was Sean Jones.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Well, look, I mean, it's been just wonderful. I think we lost the EToNS here. We lost the visual.
Who we lose?
They say
Ed.
lost us.
We're here.
There they are.
Oh,
Here
there
we
they
go.
go.
Okay.
I hear them.
Hey.
Now everybody's here. Let me get. Is anybody missing?
Yeah,
Okay.
we lost, but we're winding up. We're winding down, right?
Yeah. Well, look, I want to thank everybody. And Tony, why don't you tell everybody how they can become fans of the EToNS, where they can find your music, and how they can find you on social media.
We are on all the streaming services, and our website is etonstheband.com. Please come and you'll see all of the updates of when the albums are going to be released and where shows will be happening and all that good stuff. And hopefully we will be doing some stuff with Sarah's Girl as well. So you can also go to her website and you can say what that is.
It is Sarah's Girl Music. www.sarahsgirlmusic.com.
All righty. So there you have it.
Well, look, it's been a wonderful evening. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Tony, Walter Williams. I want to thank you, Walt, and Sarah's Girl, and Willie McMillan, and Ed Ridley, and Jack Woodset. It's been a fascinating, wonderful evening. I enjoy your music, and the EToNS are headed for great success. So, again, thank you, everybody, and we'll have you back again. Are you ready to drop another album? I'll have you all back.
All righty. Fair enough. Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Good
night. All right. Night.
Night.
All right. Yes, sir.
Well, that was a wonderful evening. That was with Tony, Nicholas, and also the EToNS and Walter Williams of OJ's fame. It's been a phenomenal evening, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Next week, we have a great artist also. I want you to meet the wonderful Darrell Evan Jones. He's a flautist, and he does some wonderful jazz and smooth jazz. So, all of you come back again next week for another edition of the Jazz Confusion Power Hour. And I'm Mel Albin, and I'll see you all next week. I'm Mel Albin. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion Power Hour.
My name is Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.